Hey all viewers and viewers, my name is John Strategist and welcome back to Sir You're Being Hunted. This, episode 229 is it? Is that right, I think? It's obviously part of my sort of recording session at the moment, where I recorded episodes 227 and 228, so if you are leaving comments on those videos, please bear in mind I won't have seen them just yet. So yes, that's just a heads up for anyone who left a comment and is expecting me to reply to it. I won't be able to as of the moment I record this. Of course, I will have, responded by the time, of course, that those episodes have gone out, but you know what I mean. So yeah, here we are, continuing on, of course, with the Memorial Challenge. We're now on the North Island. If you didn't, well, I was about to say if you didn't know already, there's no way actually anyone could have known, because I hadn't actually said it yet, but, so we're here on the North Island. I'm starting to increasingly think that for this particular world file, I've only set the islands to rural biomes, so what I'm thinking is, once I've cleared all these islands, I've been around and I've seen everything, that's definitely a memorial that we've seen before, so yes. Yeah, I'm pretty confident now that we have seen all the possible different memorials and all their names, but yeah, so I'm increasingly thinking that we don't have any castle biomes on this world file, in which case, for episode 230, no, not 230, maybe, whichever episode it is, it'll be in the 230s after I've done the West Island. I'll probably just set up a new world file with a centre island set to a castle biome with plenty of castle infrastructure, and we'll do a few blue plaques, but I don't think we'll go crazy on that. We'll just do a few, and then, we'll call it quits for the Memorial Tour Challenge. But yeah, and we'll move on to something else, something perhaps a little more dynamic and exciting. Who knows? So yes. So how are you guys all doing out there? Hope you're all doing well. As is the case, of course, with these last few episodes, I've been doing them in very much a kind of podcast style, where I just sort of wander around and I talk about various topics. Of course, in the last episode, I was talking about, smartphones. Apparently, people these days can't go more than, I think it's 12 minutes without picking up their phone and looking at it. This episode, I want to talk about something completely different, something of interest to me. So, of course, some of you who religiously watch my various series here on my channel, you'll probably be aware that I am becoming increasingly a bit of a fan of various anime franchises. Of course, I'm not a full-fledged weeaboo just yet, don't you worry, but I have quite a few various series that I do enjoy, and I've actually watched a couple of new ones fairly recently, which I'm going to talk about in this episode because they're fairly interesting. So the first of those that I actually want to talk about is an anime called 91 Days, which I think came out in 2016, but I watched it on Funimation, and it was a very enjoyable series to watch. I really enjoyed it. So what was actually kind of unique about 91 Days was that it's a historical anime. It's set in the Prohibition era. I think the year is probably about 1930 or 31, so kind of towards the tail end of Prohibition in America. But basically it's all about mafias, gangsters, and the kind of politics of internal rivalries, and of course it's about revenge as well. So it's like the storyline is the main character saw his entire family being executed when he was a child by a particular mafia family, the Venettis, and he grows up several years later. He intends to set out and get his revenge on the people who killed his family. And so he infiltrates this mafia family, gains their trust, and then he gradually plots their downfall. But it's also, of course, about conflict of feeling as well, because by the end of it, the main character has developed an actual proper friendship with one of the members of this mafia family. So it's interesting to see how that plays out as well. But 91 Days is very, very interesting, and I'm probably actually going to do a review of it over on my General Red Thingy Bobber, General Red Propagandist second channel, where I do a lot of anime-related content, because that's how much I enjoyed it, and I thought it was very good. So if you're, looking for something very interesting to watch, 91 Days is definitely something that you might want to take a look at. One thing I will say, it's a very adult anime, strong language, quite violent at times, so if you're looking for something that's family-friendly, then don't choose that one, because that's probably not appropriate. So yeah. But if you can, put up with dark and edgy themes, things like that, then it shouldn't be a problem for you. So yeah, 91 Days, everybody, a very, very good anime, and one that I definitely wholeheartedly recommend. What is down here on this little peninsula over here? Is that just a village that I was at a moment ago, or is that a different place? Hold on, let me go this direction towards the coast and then I'll follow it round. So yeah, 91 Days, good anime. Go and check it out, it's on Funimation, you can watch it on there. Ah yes. Funimation's an interesting site. I think 91 Days is only available in English on that site. But having said that, I didn't mind the English voice acting for it. I thought the English voice acting was actually, fairly decent for what it was. Because that's the thing, a lot of people who watch anime always kind of insist, you should watch it in the original Japanese, because usually the English voice acting's terrible. I'm kind of, when it comes to English voice acting, English dubs in anime, I'm typically not that bothered about it, in all honesty. The thing is, there are granted some animes out there which I will only watch in English, or ones that I'll only watch in Japanese. For example, One Piece, by way of an example, that's an anime which I only ever watch in Japanese. I did try the English dub of it, but I didn't really like it. Whereas, strangely enough, my old sort of guilty favourite anime, Girls and Panzer, a lot of people really pan the English dub of that, but I personally watch Girls and Panzer in English, even though the dub is, not brilliant, which is kind of funny, really. But, I guess personal taste and what have you. But yes, 91 Days, available in English on Funimation, and the English voice actors for that particular anime are not too bad, actually, I thought. I thought they did a decent enough job. Certainly conveyed the feeling and the gravity of the various scenes, so yeah. Good stuff right there. But 91 Days isn't the only anime, actually, that I managed to watch fairly recently. Another one, which... Now, this is one that was actually recommended to me by a friend back when I was still actually living up north. But this second anime that I managed to get my hands on recently is, and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Suisei no Gargantia, or as that translates in English, Gargantia on the Verdurous planet. Again, this one didn't come out terribly recently, but it is still a fairly young anime. I think it's probably about... Did it come out in 2015, around about there? In fact, actually, no, maybe it didn't come out that long ago. Maybe it did come out a bit more recently. I'm not sure. It's a fairly young anime, like I say, but it's a really interesting one. So, like I say, that one was recommended to me. I'd heard a lot of good things about it. Got it on DVD, watched it myself, and yeah, I quite liked it. And I'm, as I'm probably going to do with 91 Days, I will probably also do a review of Gargantia on the Verdurous planet over on my Propagandist channel as well, just because I enjoyed it so much. But essentially, for anyone who, hasn't watched that, I would definitely recommend it. The basic storyline is, it follows a character called Ledo, who I think is about 16 or 17, maybe as old as 18, but he's basically a soldier. It's set in the future, long in the future. And he's basically like a soldier who's fighting with the Galactic Alliance of Humanity, or whatever it's called. And the big enemy of humanity is this supposedly alien race called the Hideaus. And basically, in a big battle against them, Ledo is, I think his kind of robotic sort of spaceship unit, his kind of mecha, that's the word I'm looking for, mecha. The mecha that he pilots is temporarily damaged, and he blacks out and he wakes up 6 months later on an unidentified planet, and he discovers that there are humans living on this planet who are not part of the Galactic Alliance, and to his kind of astonishment, he discovers that this planet that he's on is actually Earth, the birthplace of humanity, a planet which the Galactic Alliance didn't realise actually existed, because in the Galactic Alliance lore, it's a myth. And so it's a fascinating series to watch. Mainly it's about kind of Ledo attempting to adjust to what is essentially a completely alien culture to him, and that makes for some interesting kind of dialogue and discussions and situations, which is really interesting. But of course there's also its fair share of action. And what's also kind of interesting about Gargantia on the Verdurous planet is, particularly as the series gets along and Ledo starts exploring the world around him, and he starts finding out the history of humanity and where the Galactic Alliance actually came from and why it is that they think Earth is a myth. So it's really interesting stuff. And of course, Gargantia on the Verdurous planet as well has its share of fan service, let's say, notably with the female character Amy. But let's just say Amy is an interesting character in the sense that, here's the thing. a lot of the fan service is oriented around her. The only slight problem is, from what I understand, the character is well, she's underage, let's put it that way. I'm pretty sure she's only meant to be about 16. Maybe not even that, who knows. I just thought I'd blow up those lamp posts, as you do. Because I can, that's why. I'm going to shoot this one out. There we are. Take out all the lights, everybody. But yes, Amy from Sweet A No Gargantia, Miss Fan Service from that one, along with her friends Melty and Saya, I think her name is. They're the fan service girls of the show, but the only slight issue with them is they're a little bit underage, which is a bit of a problem. So, yes. So anyone out there who faps to two-dimensional waifus, you might just want to think about that before you do. I think there's a church off in that direction. Hello, hello. We could go and take a look at this bad boy over here. I wonder if it'll actually have a graveyard. That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? So you can get a screenshot of that for a thumbnail. Have you got a graveyard? I see a wall, but are there graves? That's the question. Because there's no guarantee that any will have generated. Let me get my torch out again so you can actually see what I'm doing. No. There's none around here. I'm kind of surprised that there have been... No graveyard here either. Okay. I'm kind of surprised. A lot of the churches I've been to over the course of this Memorial Tour challenge just haven't had graveyards around them, which is really strange. I'm thinking that I may actually screw it. I'm thinking that in the next episode I may actually just generate a new world with a castle biome and just maybe do that and then make that the final episode for this challenge, because I'm aware that the only reason you're probably watching this is for my actual commentary at this point. What I'm actually doing here in game at the moment is probably pretty dull at the moment, so yeah, I think it's coming towards time really to start wrapping this challenge up, so I think I'll do that in the next episode. I'll generate a new world, I'll create a castle biome, and I'll just have a quick exploration of that, and then I'll call it quits for the Memorial Tour challenge. We've seen a lot, we've seen all the basic memorial stones, things like that, so that was interesting enough. It'll do. And then of course after that we'll get onto a new challenge, so yeah. I mean, of course, I imagine people are still enjoying the series. It's amazing, really, that I've got so much content out of this one game. 229 episodes and still going strong. There have been moments where, the viewing count has kind of fluctuated, but then it's picked up again. A couple of weeks back, there was one episode, I can't remember what number it was, that I uploaded, and a couple of days after I'd uploaded it, it actually only got about 15 views, and so for a moment I was starting to worry, had my Sir You're Being Hunted series reached a point where people maybe weren't that interested anymore and were starting to switch off from it. But then, I don't know, the viewing figures picked up to about the average again, which is usually about 30 or so, maybe a little bit more than that sometimes. So no, it appears that Sir is still going strong. Maybe there was just, people just had other reasons for not watching that particular episode. Maybe they were busy or what have you. But yeah. Plunging these villages into eternal blackout. Well, probably not eternal. They probably repair themselves, those lamps, when you travel between islands or something. That's the thing, yeah. I can't remember which episode it was when I first discovered you can destroy the lampposts like that, but I seem to recall, of course, it blew my mind at the time. Yeah. Okay. Well, tell you what, I think I've been recording for, 10 minutes at the very least, which is probably enough for an episode right there. That's the thing, you don't want to watch an episode of me just rambling on about various things, do you? And, I think it is really time that we started winding down the Memorial Tour Challenge. So yeah, like I say, one more episode where we'll generate a new world and we'll just take a look at a castle biome and try and see some blue plaques and what have you. But other than that, once that's done, we'll get onto a new challenge, something a bit more dynamic, as I say. So of course, hope you've enjoyed this particular episode then, everybody. I've given you 2 anime recommendations there for you all to check out. 91 Days, if you're into historical stuff that's quite dark and edgy and violent. And of course, Gargantia on the Verdurous planet, a wonderful little sci-fi adventure. Very good stuff right there, with some very interesting themes to it, as well as very interesting characters. So yes, one thing I will also say before I go about Gargantia on the Verdurous planet, episode 6, Not just fan service, but dance service, everybody. That's dance service. Anybody who's seen that anime, you know what I'm talking about. Anyone who hasn't seen it, well, if you're into your 2D waifus and you're, the sort of person who's not bothered by the fact that the girls are technically underage, then I suppose you can go check it out if you want. But yes. Other than that, if you're not doing so already, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Links in the video description as always. You can always sign up to those to stay up to date with my uploads as and when I publish them. Good way of staying up to date with my videos. And of course, I've actually, obviously, technically already mentioned my propagandist channel earlier in this video. Go check that out as well if you're interested, particularly if you're interested in anime sort of content. You may see things on there that you particularly, enjoy. Who knows? So yeah, thank you once again, everybody. You can navigate to propagandist either through the link in the video description or via the Strategist channel main page. There's a link over on the right. So yeah, thank you once again, everybody. I'm starting to repeat myself now a bit. So before I start rambling, I will sign off now. Goodbye, all. Oh, got him! Shit! Get off the edge! Oh! No! Go! Get out of here! Get out! No, get a time! Ah! That's that monstrosity finished off. Get over there. See ya! Oh shit! No! Oh, fuck! I did not mean to do that. Oh, please don't tell me I have to kill it again now. Shit! Got to stop it! Yeah. Oh lord! No! Holy crap! This area's horrible. Oh my god, I'm being shot to fucking pieces! Ah! Oh my... What the fuck? Holy shit! Holy fucking shit! Whoa! Jesus Christ! Holy shit! Fucking hell! Bloody hell, that did like 1,000,000 damage! This better not be a... Whoa! Shit! No! Oh my fucking god! How many... What?